Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about infertility as mentioned in the Bible. As we might know by now that a lot of women, especially in our generation, I'm not sure is it because we talk about it a lot or there's more research and there's more access to technology and information about it, but it seems like a lot more women within our generation are facing infertility. And this has led to loss of relationship. It has led to broken homes, broken marriages. Some people tend to even feel broken themselves. They start to think that they lack something, there's something bad or wrong with them, which I believe is not true. This led me to getting into the Bible and trying to draw some inspiration and wondering why are there so many women that were mentioned in the Bible and that were struck with infertility. It is even mentioned in some books that God intentionally closed someone's womb and then later opened it. But for what reason? Why was it like this? Then you later realize that for every woman that I've read that has faced infertility in the Bible, it has always been for the reason for them to bear someone who was going to be great. For instance, we can start with Sarah, who was first known as Sarai and then later became Sarah, the wife of Abraham. Believe it or not, the father of all nations was struck with infertility. Then you're there wondering, how then was he going to be the father of all nations? When the Lord spoke to Abraham and told him that you're going to be the father of all nations, you're going to bear children, Sarah laughed because she was of old age and she found this funny. She had passed the childbearing age. But the Lord, being faithful and being who he is, even though Sarah doubted, even though she laughed, he did not punish her for that, but rather he still blessed her with a child. And out of Sarah's own impatience and inability to wait, and of course desperation, she even got to the extent where she gave Abraham her servant Hagar to bear children with him. But the prophecy, the word, was not for the children to be born through Hagar, but rather through Sarah and Abraham, because it is to them whom it was promised. And indeed, God saw his word. He then blessed them with Isaac. Came the first patriarch who stayed and remained in Canaan. He was even used as a symbol and a test and a show of faith when God asked Abraham to give him as a sacrifice and then provided a lamb to be sacrificed instead. And through him, the prophecy was indeed fulfilled of becoming the father of all nations. We see this in Genesis chapter 17 to 18 and going on to chapter 21. Then moving on to chapter 25, when Isaac is grown, at 40 years old, he goes on to marry Rebekah. But it says that only until he was 60 years old, which means for 20 years, they had no children. Rebekah's womb was closed. There is not much that is mentioned in the Bible of how she reacted with the measures that she made, but it got to an extent where Isaac himself prayed and begged God on Rebekah's behalf for them to have a child. That's when they were blessed with the twins, and they gave birth to Jacob and Esau. Jacob went on to become one of the founding fathers or one of the patriarchs of Israel, where he himself was named Israel after wrestling with God. When we move on to Genesis chapter 29, we see Jacob going out to find a wife. He worked for Rachel but was given Leah. Then he had to work for Rachel again and finally got to marry both sisters. And both sisters' wombs were closed. Again, they faced infertility, but at one point, God opened Leah's womb and she gave birth to 4 children: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, and her womb was closed again. While Rachel waited for a very long time this made Rachel envious. She became infuriated to the extent that out of desperation, she went and gave her servant Bilhah in Genesis chapter 30 to Jacob so that at least maybe she can have a family through her. But again, the plan was for her to have children with Jacob. So whatever was going to happen with Bilhah was not within the plan. When Leah's womb was opened and she had the 4 boys, Rachel grew envious to the extent that she gave her maidservant Bilhah to be Jacob's wife and bear children for her. Upon seeing this, Leah went on and did the same thing because she faced a second infertility after giving birth to these 4 children. Then she also went and gave Zipporah to Jacob so that she could also bear children for her. But finally, when the prophecy was fulfilled, Rachel gave birth to Joseph and Benjamin. And Joseph was blessed with the ability to interpret dreams, which made him, of course, since he was very much loved by his father, this led to his brothers hating him, which led to him being sold to the Egyptians, which then later led him to become the viceroy of Egypt, second in command only to the Pharaoh, which also led him to help and save his family during the famine when they came searching for food, and then he managed to help them to move and stay in Egypt. And I believe the 4th woman to face infertility, according to the list that I made, was Hannah. She is the most famous, according to what I know. She's the most famous woman for being infertile because she cried so fervently for the Lord, asking and begging for a child to the extent that the priest thought she was drunk. And the treatment that she got from her husband's second wife, Penina, did not make life easier for her. But eventually she was blessed with Samuel, who then became the first prophet and last judge. He was even a priest as well, because when she gave birth to him, she dedicated him unto the Lord. The 5th woman on my list is Elizabeth, the mother of John the Baptist. Again, they faced infertility for a long time, and now when they were in the old age, the angel Gabriel appeared and told Zechariah that they were going to have a kid, to which he did not believe and he doubted, and then he was struck with being mute until he saw the prophecy being fulfilled. And that's exactly what happened. Elizabeth got pregnant. She gave birth to John the Baptist, who was the forerunner of Jesus Christ, and he was also the one who baptized him. And if you have been following through and listening carefully to the 5 women that I've mentioned, they all have one thing in common, or maybe 2. They were all barren. They were all blessed with children who became great people, who became forces to reckon. So I believe that not only is it physical barrenness, it might be a barrenness that you're facing in life. It might be in terms of your work, in terms of your education. It might be you're going through a certain time in life where you feel like everyone else is planting seed, everyone else is getting something, and you're getting nothing. But instead of growing weary, instead of being envious, instead of being angry in that season that you're in, that's the time that you're supposed to be praying more fervently. That's the time that you're supposed to be believing and trusting God more, because it means that there's a big blessing that is coming for you. It means that He is preparing the way for you. He's preparing the land for you. He is preparing something very big for you. And even if you are going through a space of physical infertility and you really want to have your own offspring, you really want to have your own child, you really want for things to happen, there are so many things that you can do, but for everything to be possible, everything to work out, it comes through the power of the Lord. It comes through what God has allowed and has blessed you with. And it's within that season that you need to look within and understand. It's within that waiting season that you need to focus more on prayer, that you need to grow more spiritually and try and see what exactly the Lord is saying and what exactly He has planted for you. Because in every scenario, when people were growing weary, the Lord would speak. He would send angels. He would speak directly to people and say, you know what? You are going to have a child. You are going to get your blessing. But most of us have been in the dry land, in the desert, in that infertile land for so long that we start to believe it's our reality. It's what we deserve. There's nothing better for us. But unfortunately, that's not the message that the Lord has for you today. His message is that listen carefully and read between the lines. What exactly is the Lord saying in your situation? What exactly does He have for you? What is His plan for you? What has He promised you? What has He said to you in His word? And according to His promises, according to His prophecies, what have you done to be ready to receive your miracle, to receive your blessing, to see your prophecy being fulfilled. What exactly is your purpose for the Lord? He is never silent. He always talks. We might backslide. We might have things that are hindering us from hearing or seeing what the Lord has planted in our lives. But he never fails. He's always faithful. He is saying something to you. What is he saying to you? What is he saying to your situation? Be strong. Be courageous. Do not doubt him. Do not grow weary. Do not be envious of what other people have or what they are doing, because it's their season to harvest. And your season is coming. But while you're waiting, don't spoil the land. Keep it clean, because your miracle and your blessing is definitely on its way. Thank you for today. And I really hope that we get to meet in the next chapter and see what the Lord has planned for us as we are taking this journey of faith and trying to understand and navigate more and see, or understand more actually, and see exactly what the Lord is saying in his word. How can we interpret it within our lives? And of course, as always, if anyone has any more information, I'm always willing to learn. That's the whole purpose of this journey. And if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them, but I'm not an expert. I'm here mainly to learn. So I would really appreciate any information. If there's anything that was not right, that you think I missed something, or if there's a different interpretation, I'm curious. I really want to know more and to learn more on the Word of God. But until next time, thank you very much.